Hello. Today, I'd like to address how people pleasing, a coping skill of the inner child, plays out in the adult's life. So we begin at the beginning, where there are painful experiences in childhood, and the child is in this position of having the pain of not having needs met, needs feeling misunderstood or not understood, not seen, not heard. So feeling much alone. In this place, the need for connection is very strong. In humans, that need for connection is always very strong, and how it plays out for the individual varies. The coping skills is one way a personality takes on a way of living life, surviving, because that's what coping strategies are about. Now, people pleasing is a very universal, it's widely used because when you are in society, when you are with others, don't you feel just as maybe you don't even feel it, but there's this unconscious need to get along, to be polite and respectful of whoever you're with. In some ways, it's perfectly natural. But when it comes from the wounded child part who needs to please, because the motivation is, unless I please, I won't get the love I need. I won't be accepted. I won't be approved of because it's coming from the wound of not being important, not being valuable, worthy, deserving. So this people pleasing comes of the behavior of being polite and nice to people, comes from this motivation of the wound. And because it does, it keeps the adult stuck in people pleasing. Beyond being polite and nice, what people pleasing does is focus the individual on how to fulfill the needs of others. So it can become very subtle unless you begin to see and watch yourself people pleasing. I noticed recently, as I focused on this aspect of my coping skills, that I've always been attentive to the needs around me. And as a therapist, it's excellent because I'm focused on my clients' needs. But it's also in general, when I'm around people, I can anticipate what a person would need. Say we're around dinner, having a very nice meal together. I can anticipate when someone needs to have more or something that isn't at the table. This is how attuned I am to the people around me and what they need. And it seems fairly harmless, doesn't it? Except this attunement to what other people need and the need to please them brings your own needs low in priority. You never ask or are aware of what it is that you need unless you've done a lot of healing of your inner child. For example, um, when I am engaged, say, in conversation with someone, and I can see what it is that they need, because I've um, healed enough of my wounded parts, I can be aware of what I need. For example, if the conversation around the table is in an area that totally bores me and I don't see the need to continue it, I might just chirp up and say, I wonder whether we can change the conversation. I was wondering this because I just noticed this in what I was reading and I wondered what people thought of it. There, I was moving the conversation because of my need of being bored and feeling uninvolved with the conversation to turn it in a direction of my need. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. But the important thing is I recognize what my need was, and I wasn't totally blinded by the needs of others and just going along. One of my clients, whom I've known for quite a while, speaks about how for years, most of her life, because of the trauma she experienced, that she just went along. She became a doormat. In fact, until recently, she went along with what her husband needed or what her friends required, what they were saying they planned to do, and she felt she needed to go along. And then recognizing that it didn't take into account the fact that she needed this, she needed rest, she needed no involvement in many activities, and how that she recognized that she's moved off and saying, doormat no more, going along no more. And she is finally taking care of her own needs. This is the gift of healing the inner child, especially in terms of this people-pleasing strategy. Because when you think of it, the wound was created early in childhood because the child did not feel that his or her needs were being seen, understood, respected, and attended to. So when you become a people pleaser, you duplicate your original wound. So in a sense, every time you people please, you turn against yourself. You duplicate your original trauma. And in some ways, you re-traumatize yourself by making your needs unimportant. And if you've been people pleasing most of your life, just think of how many times you rejected your needs in favor of pleasing others. Thousands of times, tens of thousands of times, isn't it? And when you consider this, you are worthy of having your needs known and fulfilled. And when you cooperated with the original rejection and kept rejecting attention to you and your needs, you simply re-traumatized yourself over and over again. Consider that. It's pretty profound, I think. And that's why I'm talking about people pleasing today, because although it keeps culture, society, relationships moving on a smooth wheel, it doesn't help your heart because your heart needs your needs, your longings attended to. So please consider how important it is to heal this particular trauma part who carries not only people pleasing, but the related core wound of not being important, good enough, worthy, deserving, and the pain experience of being unimportant, low in the list of priorities. All of that is waiting to be healed. And this is the work that I do with my inner child healing courses and services. So if you haven't already, book a discovery call with me and see how I might be able to address or help you see what you're struggling with and how what I do might serve you to heal your inner child. Questions in the comments? Thank you for listening. I appreciate you.